Well, good morning, you rascals. Okay, it's time to look at reactive, responsive, repetition, routine, and a whole system. I'm going to use Brownie, and then I'll come back and do Kitty, but I'm not going over 30 minutes anymore because every time I do it seems like that it's just too much. Anyway, I got to get to work. That's what I'm going to show you, from going to, catching, everything I do in a routine to saddle up, ride off, and how to look for what I look for in my horse to go on or to wait or to do more repetition to get that focus before I go on so I don't run into problems. Here we go. We're going to catch old Brownie, or Brownie's going to catch me. Hey, get over here. Hurry up. Let's go. Brownie's going to catch me, and when Brownie catches me, I'm caught. All right, that's how I look at it. I look at it, I'm caught. Brownie caught me. And I know most of you don't look at it like that. If you'll start turning around and looking at your horse caught you, your horse's focus on what you're doing to him will completely change. If you'll quit chasing your horse and you'll quit demanding your horse to do whatever you're expecting them to do, without knowing that that's already what they know to do, everything changes in your horse world. Okay? So I got him messed up with my reins. The jaw rope, that's great, but now you just got to be patient with it because it'll always get tangled up in something. But I'm going to use it, always have, and I always will. And I'll show you why I do that here in a few minutes when I start in. I'll show you just how important it is to me. Don't mean it's anything to you. Okay, we got him caught. I turn around and walk off. I ain't even looking back. I got him on 3 foot of lead rope. I walk over here and I say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all. I can't ask for nothing no better than that, all right? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my fault. I didn't step over close enough. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now, I'm going to ask him to back up with 2 ounces of pressure. Then I'm going to ask him to back up because I asked him to back up. All right. Now, this is just catching him up. All right. Now we're going to go saddle up. I want you to watch what he does for me when I walk to where my saddle's at. Watch what he does right here. I ain't saying a word. I'm going to grab my pad and get my pad. Now let him get through using the bathroom. All right. Now I'm going to say, get over here. There's that. All I do is pull my saddle down. I ain't worried about it popping and jerking and knocking and banging. I ain't worried about none of that. I'm going to wear it back. I'm going to throw my saddle up on my horse. Now the weather here is already, man, it's already up in 50s today. All right, then I'm gonna reach under. Oh, and I see right there, I reach under for my cinch, and it's not there. So I gotta go over here and find out what's wrong. That's why you always want to come to the off side of your horse every day to just look at it and see that everything's right. Most of the time I know how I throw my saddle up. I know how it lands, and so I already know what it looks like on the other side. You can just you get a sense for it, you just feel it. But always look and make sure. I don't want him walking around. I don't want him doing silly. I want him to stand right there. Let me saddle him up. Let me get him to where he's ready to ride. I'll go with my breast collar. Hook my breast collar strap between his front legs. he's ready to step on. Then I do the short version. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is after I already know from the first part of it what he does and why he does what he does, okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get out here where you can see me. And 5. And then he's going to step over here, and I'm going to step on him. Okay. Now, I just asked him to walk off. I rub him on the neck every time, every day, to let him know we ain't doing nothing no different. I want you to calm down. I want you to ride off. If you get that horse associated with what you're asking him to do, and he understands we're doing it in a calm way, he's going to do that, all right? I'm going to ask him to side pass. I'm going to ask him to side pass. I'm going to ask him to back up. I'm going to ask him to walk forward. Then all I'm going to do is and this is the basic version I use. Then I'm going to ask him to walk around this tire. And this is just catching him up. I want to see where he's at, focused on what I'm doing and how I'm doing what I'm doing. All right. This is not your routine. I don't suggest anybody do it. I'm showing you my routine. I'm going to ride right over here, and I'm going to get my flag. I'm going to get my flag, and all I'm going to do is use my flag, and I'm going to go around my cones one time with my flag, just like that. I want to get anything that I can use around him, knowing whatever stage of training he's at, that he can deal with and he can handle before I start trying to ride him and go somewhere with him. I'm going to side pass over to the fence, get over to the fence. I'm going to pick my plastic up. I'm going to do the same thing with my plastic. Handling one-handed, 2 fingers. Light and easy. The routine is the routine. You know your routine, and whatever it is that you do every day, somebody can change that, and you have to get used to that. Once you have a baby, you got to get used to a whole different routine. Once you have somebody, you got to ride with somebody. You got to be responsible enough to be ready for them to pick you up at a certain time and go pick up somebody else, like you're carpooling or something. You go to work, you got to be there at 8 o'clock. You got to get off at 5. You got to get back home. You got to pick up the kids. You got to do whatever it is you got to do. It's a routine. And I'm just afraid that there's so many people that has a routine, but it is not the same routine enough that a horse gets it. I'm afraid that's what the biggest problem is. Now see right here, I already know what I've already showed him and told him to do. I'm not going to worry about this. That's why I don't do this with them every day after I get them started riding. It's like going catching old Kit Kat up. I'm going to do it to him on the ground. All right, but then I want to see how soon he can get back to it. And yeah, it can go western anytime. But if you know what you know about your horses, you know it's not going to. All right. This just lets you know, regardless of how much training you put in a horse, they still have a mindset of doing whatever they think they need to do when something happens. Now, the thing I did not do, that I do not want nobody to do, is I didn't use the flag, the plastic, and the bottle on the ground. I hope you caught that. That is a silly mistake. Now, I know this horse, and I know my horses, and I know what they're going to do. I just know. Don't do that. If you leave out one step of a routine to check your horse for focus, you're gambling. Catch him up, saddle him up, and ride him off. You're gambling. Catch him up, don't do the groundwork, you're gambling. Do whatever you want to do. Ride him without spurs for a week, and then put your spurs on. You're gambling. All right. But that's why I did that on purpose. All right. Routine is routine. Don't break it. Keep it the same. until the horse gets it. You don't like for nobody to change your routine. They don't like for nobody to change their routine. And when you do, you can expect nervousness, reactiveness. You can expect them not to get with the program that you've got going on. Because if you don't, see right there, he was going to walk off. Put him right back where he was at. And we'll practice that 15 times if we have to get that right. Go right over here. I side pass over to my tire. I side pass over to my tire. I get my tire. I never ask him to drag it off forward. I always let him look at it, let him see it coming, and let him see what he's going to say to that. I always do that. Now, he's okay with that. The first time I drag it, I'm going to have it in my hand to drag it. Then when I see he's not going to do nothing, I put it over my horn, and then I start in dragging it. And I go back to 2 hands on my reins because I don't want something to happen that he's going to, I guess you'd say object to or not like or whatever. Now, the first time I ask him around to pull it, I'm going to let it go that way. Then I'm going to go right back to him. I'm going to bring it right on around. I want him to see that dragging in his eye. I'm going to ask him to let it hit that hip. Let it hit that hip, just like that, and pull it off. Come back, let it hit that hip, and ask him to go forward and pull it off. Then I'm going to make another round over here, and this time when I go around my cone with my tire, I am going to ask him to pull it on the outside against his hip. Now, guys, you better know what you're doing, and you better watch what you're doing, and you better know your horse before you start doing that. All right. Then I'm going to get right around this cone again. Got to get out far enough that I can get around it. Then all I'm going to do is one-handed ask him to turn into it with my legs, with my hand, and I'm going to ask him to back up and drag it. Then I'm going to ask him forward, and I'm going to walk off and do the same thing again. Routine is a routine. Somebody changes yours, you don't like it, all right? Now I'm going to stop him. I'm going to ask him to back up, pull that tire. Then I'm going to stop him, let him stand there. Then I take my rope and I go over his head. Go over his head, go over his head, go over his head, go over his head. And when I'm starting this, I don't hit him in the head. After that, I start dragging the rope on his head and around his ears and everywhere, just to let him get the feel of that, let him get used to that. Then I'm going to back him up. I'm going to go over that nose. And I've already got him to where I want him by pulling it, so I'm going to let him pull it. I always turn to keep that rope off of his butt until I know he knows what we're doing in both eyes. Let him back up and let him drag it. Let him back up and let him drag it. Then I'm going to ask him forward, and I'm going to let the rope go around his butt, and I'm going to let him feel it. Then I'm going to turn him out of it. I'm going to turn him back and let him feel it to see if he's going to jump, and I'm going to turn him out of it. Then I'm going to ask him to feel of it and ask him to pull it. Just like that. And that's what I'm going to do with that tire. Then I'm going to get right here, and I'm going to face him, and I'm going to pull my tire. Just like that right there. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to walk right back up here, and you go around the arena. You do this is what I used to drag my riding area down with. Then I'm going to go right over here, and I'm going to ask him to pull it right up against the fence where I got it from. And then I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to bring it to me. Make sure you unhook it off of your saddle horn. I'm going to bring it to me, just like that. And then I'm going to back him up a step, and I'm going to push it over there to that fence. Then I'm going to let my rope down, flip it over his head, and flip it over that. Now I'll have to go over here and turn my camera a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera a little bit. And it's just going to be part of the routine. There's like 20 different things I do with him. So just be patient and hang on here just a minute. I got to get my camera over here in a different spot so that I can get the gate and the other gate. All right, now here we go. I'm going to step right back on him. He steps over to me. Step right back on him. Now we're going to go over here and I'm going to stick him in the corner and open my gate to go out of my pen. So I'm going to push him in the corner just like this. Tell him to get over to the gate. Get over to the gate. Then I'm going to open my gate. We're going to get over to the gate. Then I'm going to open my gate. Then I'm going to hold him, if you can see that. And I'm going to shut my gate, and I'm going to push him back over to the gate so I can shut my gate. Then I'm going to come right over to this gate. I hope you can see this. Side pass over to the gate. I'm going to open my gate. Side pass him the other way. Side pass him the other way. Now I'm going to go out of my gate. I'm going to hold him over against the gate. And I'm going to shut my gate. Same way we did it a while ago. Then I'm going to ride him off and go do whatever it is I go do. And I got 10 more things out here I go do with him. Then I'm going to bring him right back. I'm going to bring him right back to the gate. I'm going to turn him around. I'm going to side pass him to the gate. Side pass him to the gate. To the gate. All right. And I never expect my horse to be perfect. Every day is different for him. Every day is different for me. Asked him to come out of that. I go right back. I side pass him right back over to my gate, and I'm going to shut my gate. I'm going to side pass him right back over to the gate, and I'm going to shut my gate. I'm going to side pass him right back over to the gate, and all I'm doing is wiggling that spur. Ask, tell, and demand. Then I'm going to go over to this gate. Then I'm going to come right over here, and I'm going to side pass over to this gate. I'm going to open my gate just like that. I'm going to back up and side pass over to my gate. I'm going to open my gate, and I'm going to go through my gate. I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to side pass back over, and I'm going to shut my gate. Just like that. Then I'm going to go right out here on my tires, or right around all my tires and all that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to come right back. I'm going to ride right back up to my gate. I'm going to side pass over to my gate. And pretty soon, when you get to a gate, after they've done it, it's like a routine of anything else. After you get to that gate so far, they're going to know what you're wanting them to do. I open the gate, and I hang on to my gate. As I go through my gate, I turn loose of it. I ask him to turn around. I ask him to side pass back over to my gate. I get a hold of my gate. I ask him to side pass the other way. Shut my gate. I come back over here. I asked him to go back in the round pen. I got to open my gate. I asked him to back up, sling my gate, open my gate, and when I go in my gate, I want him to stand right here, and I want him to let me shut my gate. Watch him right here. See, he's not thinking. Watch him right here. He's not thinking. Watch him right here. He's not thinking. He's not listening to my hands. Watch him, but he will. And if we have to do this 10 times, we're going to do it 10 times until see, my hand come off the gate. He knows better. So I'm going to put him back over here. I'm going to push the gate open. I'm going to back him through my gate, just like that. I'm going to come back up to my gate. I'm going to come through my gate. He knows it's the routine. He knows it. He's just not wanting to do it. He's not listening to my hands and to my feet. All right? And then I'm going to shut my gate. I'm going to turn him around this way. I'm going to ask him forward. He needs to stay right there. Now, that's the way he's supposed to do it. Then I back him up a step and I asked him to get over in the gate. And then I shut my gate. All right, guys, that's the routine of what I show them as a routine and as what I expect them to do every time I get a hold of them. All right? Now, I'm going to walk him off. I'm going to stop. I'm going to back up. I'm going to ask him to the right. I'm going to ask him to the left. I'm going to ask him to back up. All right. I'm going to ask him to side pass to the left. I want him to side pass to the right. It doesn't matter how much you do your routine. It don't matter how many times you show them. Don't think they're not going to get confused just like we do. Every time we do something, we get confused in doing it. I'm going to ask him to walk around these cones. Now, when I'm doing something with an object like a cone, he can't touch them. He can't step on them. When I'm doing something with a cone, I'm riding with my legs, my hand, my weight forward just a little bit, telling him to walk and listen to my hands of what I'm doing. All right. Then I'm going to ask him to trot. All I'm doing is leaning up. I ask him to trot. And I don't want him to trot in a little bitty short circle right there around that cone. I want him to be comfortable enough when I start this that he's in a big enough of a circle, of an arc, that he can do it and still trot. If you break him down to where it's really short, he's going to want to walk. Then you're going to get after him. I want that circle to be big enough, and then I squeeze that circle down to a little bit of nothing. But I want that circle to be big enough that he gets the trot. All right? Then I'm going to come right over here, and like I said, this is routine. And see, they've been playing with my tires, and they got them out of my corner. All right, I keep them stacked up in that corner and keep them out of the way. And they all drag this tire. They all drag that tire to drag the arena down. And right there, I just tighten my saddle back up. After I ride for about, He didn't, he stepped away, see? Now I tell him to step back over here. After I ride him for about 10 minutes, he loosens up a hole in that cinch. Now I'm gonna squeeze him and ask him to go. I'm gonna use my left leg and ask him to turn real light with my reins. I'm going to lean back, ask him to stop. I'm going to use my right leg and ask him to go this way. I'm going to lean back and ask him to stop, and I'm going to turn around with my left leg. I'm going to turn around with my right leg. I'm going to turn around with my left leg. I'm going to turn around with my right leg. Just like that. All right. Now, when I come out this time, I'm going to ask him to walk, trot, and go into a little lope. I speed him up little by little until I can feel him bump out in that lope. All right, now here we go. All right, now here we go. It's walk, trot, faster trot until it turns into a lope. Walk, trot, faster trot until it turns into a lope. I'm not going to bump him. I'm not going to get on to him. I'm going to let him do it. I'm using my corners down here as a wall to help stop him, so I don't have to handle him hard and I don't have to handle him bad. And it lets him figure out that he can do whatever he needs to do without me handling him hard, and until he gets what I'm asking him to do. See, going back this way, he's trotting. Going this way, he's loping. I'm not going to push and shove on him. I'm going to let him get walk, trot, and lope until he's comfortable with doing it. Watch his front feet when he goes to turn, and watch his back feet, and you'll see exactly what I'm telling you about yesterday about stepping over that tire. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, stepping over that tire. You look at how they use their back feet after they've been used to stepping up on something, and then you look at how they use their front feet, because that's what they use every day, every step they make. Their back feet just makes up the difference in what their front feet's doing. All right, so now I'm going to lean on him and ask him to go. All right, now I'm going to lean on him and ask him to go. Now I'm going to lean on him and ask him to go. Faster and faster and faster until it turns into a lope. I'm not going to make him lope. I'm going to let him lope. I'm not going to force this horse into doing something that he's going to be confused about. I want him to get fast enough in that trot that he goes into a lope on his own. Then I'm going to stop him. I'm going to back him up. I'm going to turn him around in a short circle. I'm going to turn him around in a short circle going the other way. It's a routine, guys. Get you a routine. Get you, I don't know how much of this you can see this. We'll go ahead and do it anyway. Wind's blowing about 50 miles an hour out here. All right, so I'm starting him out in a trot. And when I'm trotting him, I'm looking for him to let me put his feet wherever I want them. I don't want him deciding where he's going to put his feet. I'm letting him decide that he needs to let me handle his feet and put them where I need him to go. Now, another drill I do is right here. I go in here and I'm handling with my leg and with my rein. My leg and my rein. My leg and my rein. Ounces, just ounces. My leg and my rein. Then you can mix it up and you can ask him to go across the tire. My leg and my rein. My leg and my rein. Now, the biggest difference most people have that I have, when I'm turning him to the right, I'm using my right leg. When I'm turning him to the left, I'm using my left leg. Do it or don't, it doesn't matter. If you ever do it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, say, well, Eddie, I thought the outside leg was to make him move around. Watch how he will move around in his front end just because my hand told him to. I don't have no leg pressure on him. All right. So when he understands he's not left or right footed, and he understands he can walk around in the front end, he will. Now, if you're going to make a cutting horse, whole different ball game. But you don't have to have that. I can move his back end over. I can move the back end over that way. All right. So what I'm looking at, and maybe you get it and maybe you don't, is I'm looking at how he handles with my hand, my butt, and my feet without having to have a pressured cue on him that confuses him or makes him do the wrong thing because he's not sure of what he's doing. All right, that's all I'm looking for, okay? So now we go right back to the walk. We're going to do a walk into a trot, into a faster trot, into a lope. And that's what I want right there. I want that little rocking sure lope that anybody can ride, anybody can have fun with, anybody can do with it. I want to stop. And I've got to stop. And I want to turn around. And I want to turn around the other way. Now, you can't tell me you couldn't go with him and go work cattle or go do whatever you need to go do with him and make it work. And if you'll notice, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to ask him to lope. But I don't gouge him and make him jump into a lope. I'm asking him forward in a walk-off, a trot, and in a lope within 2 cow panels. All right, so watch right here. He walks off, then he trots off, and he goes into a lope. I do not want a horse that's just going to take it on his own to go out into a lope, jerk me out of the saddle, hurt my back. I can't do this stuff. I have to do it this way because of my back. That's what I'm after right there. I do this 1,000 times. I stop. I ask him to walk off, trot off, and then go into a lope. It's all the same thing, everything. It's a routine. I ask him to stop. Don't stop him in the same place every time. I ask him to walk off, trot off, and then go into a lope. And mostly now it's just on my body. I'm leaning forward, telling him faster. I'm leaning back, telling him to slow down. I'm leaning forward, telling him faster. And I'm leaning back, telling him slow down. And I'm telling him stop. And I've just picked up on them reins with ounces, just with ounces. All right, so basically, that's my routine. I've got 10 more. Now, and just like right now, he's thinking to go ahead and go out and trot and walk and trot and lope. And so I'm going to just hold him back just with ounces to let him know, no, we're done with that. Now see where his head's going? So he's already got the fact that we ain't in no hurry no more. You cannot have your horse busting out into a trot and a lope every time you get on them and not expect them to get that habit. You're sitting somewhere talking to your buddy at work and you're working and the bosses walk in. What do? You shut up talking and get busy. You drive by a state trooper and you're running 50 mile an hour and it's a 40 mile an hour zone. What do? You slow down and get serious, set up straight, make sure you got your seatbelt on. And you say, it's all in a matter of how he sees the authority that you have trained him in. The authority that you have trained him in, the dominance and the focus that he has on you to let him do what you need him to do, but he understands it because it's not a bad cue, it's not a pressurized cue, it's just a cue. And then I asked him to trot, and then I asked him to go into a lope. And then when I'm doing this, I'm going to bring him back down to a walk. Then I'm going to let my rein loose, pick him back up, tell him, nope, we're done doing that fast deal. And let him drop his head and let him get back to walking, just like this. That horse doesn't care if he's walking, trotting, or loping. All he knows is the amount of energy you're using on him to help him do whatever he's doing. That's what he's going to get in a habit of. Be careful the cues you're telling him to do what he's doing. Now, it's just like I was telling you. I asked him to walk off, trot off, and lope. So I'm gonna back him up here. I'm gonna ask him to walk, trot, and then go into a lope. All right, I'm gonna ask him to walk, trot, and go into a lope. And I'll let him do that in a way that he gets, that's what this is I'm asking him to do. If you go to hammering on your horse and you go to asking your horse to, see right there, now he thought he was going to do it again. So I picked up on the reins and I let it off. If you notice, I ride on loose reins or just ounces of pressure on my reins to give him that cue. All right. You don't ever see him pick his head up. You don't ever see him snatch his head from me, push on that set of reins. You don't ever see him fight with me when I ask him to do something. He's standing here. I'm going to ask him to walk forward. I'm going to ask him to stop. His mouth don't gape open. Them eyes don't get that big around. And he understands exactly what I'm doing with him to give him a cue. I'm going to turn left. Now I'm going to turn right. Now I'm going to turn left. Now I'm going, no, left. Now I'm going to turn right. Now just like right there when he didn't get it right then. I ain't going to get on to him. I'm going to say, nope, we got to go left. And I'm going to ask, tell, and make. I don't expect my horse to be any more responsive to my routine than I am to the routine of whatever I need him to do. On your job, you are responsible for the routine you was taught to make a paycheck, to do what you need to do to make a living. And that's just what it's all about. It's called routine and repetition. And that gets good at anything. When I'm just riding him around, I'm gonna ride him on a loose rein. And now I'm just gonna use my leg. I'm not even gonna use my reins. I don't care where he goes and what he does, but that shows you right there, it don't make him no difference. So I've got my hand on the horn, and I'm just going to use my legs. I'm just using my legs to cue him. And if you notice, this leg is turning left. This leg over here is turning right. But my hands are not moving. All right? Now, I can take and show him, I want him to go to the right, the way the average person does it. I want him to go to the right turn, and I'm telling him, I'm just laying my hand on my foot on his leg. You watch his head on your horse or anybody's horse. As soon as you touch that side, that nose will turn. That tells you that's what God set them up to do when they felt that. When you turn to the right, it's the same way. But if you're trying to make that horse go to the right with your left leg, and he's wanting to fold up and go to the left, and you're telling him to go to the right, then you're going to have to literally make and train him to that cue to go to the right. And it's just so much easier if you put that left foot in his side. Look at how he folds in. If you put the right foot in his side, look at how he folds in. All right? You can train him any way you want to do it, but what's natural for the horse is what I want. Because if this horse gets reactive doing something, and he's going to go back to what God and his mama taught him and gave him, then all these cues that you put on him that's not natural for his flex of his body and for him to respond to is out the window. Now, you can get him to do it, but you'll have to force him to do it. You're going to have to get over them reins. You're going to have to manhandle it and get him over it. Right? Now, tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to ride outside. So many people go up to, all right, I'm going to use this. Yeah, you can see this cone good. I'm going to use this cone for an example. All right, I'm riding down the road. Well, this tire is a better deal. I'm riding down the road, and he sees this tire, and he says, oh, no. I'm going to let him go past that tire at his comfortable distance. I'm going to turn him around, and I'm going to ride right back beside that tire. Now, he's alerted to that tire. He don't like that tire. This is where everybody you ride with, you're just going to have to let them ride on. And I'm going to go back beside that, asking him to get 6 inches or a foot closer to it every time I go by. After he looks at that tire enough times and assesses that tire enough times that he's never seen before, then he's going to make an assessment of what it is according to sight, the noise it's making, and the smell, the odor that it has. All right? Then I'm going to ask him to go right on back by it again. If I have to do it, I've never done it over 25 times. They always just go to it. And then you're going to see him quit worrying about this tire, and he's going to walk right beside of it. Now, the next time I walk him over there to it, And like I said, he's used to this. But if he wasn't, I'll stop him right here, and I will not make him smell of it. I will let him smell of it. And he will smell of it. If he was alerted to it, he will want to okay it. Sight, smell, and hearing. He's going to want to okay it with that. So I'm going to walk him right on by it again. And it doesn't matter what it is. If he's alerted to it, he's going to be out here whatever his comfortable distance is from it. I don't worry about that. If it was a rattlesnake, how far would you stay away from it? How do I know he don't see that as a rattlesnake? So it's just silly to try to push him up on it. I want him to register it in his mind, okay it in his mind through sight, sound, and smell. And if I'll do this, and if his head goes down and he quits being alerted to it, he's already got it. But I'm not going to force him to go to it. I'm going to ask him to go to it 6 inches or a foot at a time.